Before I start this video, guys, I want you to tell me who are the top 3 characters that are in all of these wheels combined. Not in each wheel individually, but the top 3 characters in terms of being useful for you as 5-star ascendables or 6 stars going forward. Hello survivors, and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video we're going to be checking on all the wheels, all of them. Because there are some wheels that may not have been updated, even if they weren't advertised. I'm still going to check them, because you never know. So we're going to start off with the basic token wheel and then end on the prestige token wheel. So as you can see on the basic token wheel, it doesn't look like anything's changed. The characters I have checked a little bit going around. It looks like the first 4 or 5-star characters that are on this wheel are the same. The odds of getting these characters and stuff seem to be around the same as well. I don't think this has changed too much. I haven't really paid too much attention to this, but this seems around about what it was. In the elite character tokens, pretty much the same deal. All the characters from what I can see are the same. The odds are also, I think, exactly the same in terms of how many of these characters you're going to get. So as we look at the helper token wheel, I don't think Clementine was on this wheel, and I don't think this Victor that's just about to come around was on this wheel. These look like newer characters to me, and this Victor's really good on 5-star arena. I could be wrong here, because as you can see, I haven't pulled on this wheel for a very long time. And we'll see, I guess. Someone will be able to correct me if I'm wrong in here. I think this was exactly the same as the basic token wheel. But again, like I say, it could be wrong. Now, these 3 wheels were advertised to be updated. I'm going to go through the 5-star token wheel, then the Ward Recruits wheel, then the Prestige Recruits wheel. And I'm going to just jump on each character just for a very small amount of time. I'm not going to break them down at all. I'm just going to say whether I think they're good or not. So the first character is Mia, and as a 6-star, I think she's still good. She's good for SR at least, just because she deals flat damage. You can make her defensive. Her specialist skill is kind of countered by normalize, and obviously her active is going to be countered by daze. The next character is going to be Mercer. I do have 2 of this guy. I don't think he's spectacular now. He was okay back in the day. I think his active skill is pretty much all he brings to the game now in terms of SR, just using that, and when you auto, you're just going to spam the heal so everyone's health is all nice and high. Next up we have William, who I'd say was probably the worst shields ever to be released. His weapon, his tray, the fact it was attached and it didn't have anything that was stopping him from being a window. He took pure heavy damage, and it was just like pure AP gain for an attack team. He was not very good at all. And then next, I think this is one of the best characters in the update, is Harrison, just because he's an attack leader. Some people do not have leader skills like this, and he's going to be able to allow you to use certain characters together, your princesses, your Prias with characters like Heng Yen and Arav, and that's the combo there is insane. I've got Carl, who does the same thing. You can argue whether which one's better, I like Carl with Arav just because sometimes I can kill myself with Arav by accident due to exhaust, but I'm just happy to just rush and then get revived instantly anyway, just because that's what I can do. Next up we have Lydia, one of my favourite characters of all time. I think she's really great. She could potentially be used on a bleed team, but that's pretty much all her functionality is in terms of raids. When I say on a bleed team, I just mean like as a leader, potentially, maybe a support character. I don't really know. I don't think she'd be more of a support character, just a defensive leader. She's great in SR though, and awesome in faction assault, so she's not terrible in other parts of the game. This is the S-class character in a 6-star character skin. I'm pretty sure this character was meant to be an S-class character, and they reverted her to 6-star because if you remember, she got massively buffed. She was in the tower as a 5-star ascendable, 6-star, and then when she left the tower and came back, and all of her stats were increased. So I think due to what was going on at the time with like Players United and stuff, they decided to dial it back a bit, and we're not going to release her as a 6-star, but she still has all the S-class bells and whistles in terms of her power of her rush and the power of her active skill being much more powerful than the majority of support characters in the 6-star era at least. And next up we have Sherry, who I think pretty much is just an active skill as a 6-star. She stuns 2 characters for 3 turns, which is actually pretty powerful. I did come up against a couple of defense teams once upon a time where people had 2 of this character, and that was frustrating. That was kind of frustrating. In turn 2, like 4 people stunned, 3 people stunned, obviously, is annoying as hell. When it comes to the rush, she does strong trait damage. She actually does trait damage against fast characters, kind of weird, not going to be too useful now. She's the only character with overheal, I believe. Her weapon boosts her heal as well, so she can just proc that specialist skill when she's getting attacked because of that. So she'll just get bonus HP, bonus HP, bonus HP. If she's not max HP, it'll just be normal HP that she gains. Again, not that much of a great character in my opinion, maybe just like a bit of fun, maybe an SR character. Now this character is interesting because we'll look at her 6-star. She was the first character to come into the game with slow, but I think where she's great is the fact that she's a Guardian 2 as a 5-star. I actually have her, and you can, I did report this when it was originally released, but you know, it fell on deaf ears, unfortunately, in terms of like, I guess this is how it's meant to be. I assume how this is how it's meant to be. She's a Guardian 2 as a 5-star, which means she's going to be hitting 2 shields every crit in 5-star arena defense teams. I definitely keep her as a 5-star. If you did get her, she's great. And that is the last character on the wheel that we can see. However, I have seen people do some pulls. Screenshots are everywhere. And there are people pulling Red Lydia from this wheel and Harper. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. I'm not going to do my pulls today. I'm going to obviously wait to the end of the month because we're so close anyway. I'm just going to wait to my end of month pulls. But yeah, hopefully those characters remain the same, because I wouldn't mind getting Harper if she is on this wheel. I'm seeing screenshots of her getting pulled anyway. Next up is the War Recruit wheel. I'm going to bypass any duplicate characters. Wayland, first time we've ever been having access to like payback, which is great. I think he's the better of the payback characters as well now. In the 6-star era, not so much, but in the S-class era, Negan's getting one shot by Priya. Ivy, very strange character, really strange character the way they sold her as well. I don't think she even got much usage by anybody, mainly because her main usage was Hordes, and they haven't really run Hordes too much. Maybe like 3 or 4 times since she got released, and now she's a 6-star character in S-class world. Unless they make it so that Hordes is 6-star only, I think she's pretty much done, and she's just a fluff character. She does look cool. When she was released, I did say she looked like Talon from League of Legends. The next one again is kind of like Wayland in terms of the specialist skill has never been like widely available. I mean, the first bide, she's not the worst bide by any stretch. You could maybe argue that Cameron Scar's better than her in the current era, but I really like her active turn 1. It can be very, very frustrating to deal with just because it can be hard to kill her when she's splitting that damage in half. But obviously there can be downsides as well, because you know that trait damage will just massively boost the amount of damage the other character takes, and it's generally the highest HP character as well, so it could be the likes of like Pete on a defense team. Next up we have Mia again, so we're going to bypass her. She is a good character. It's sad that she is on both wheels. However, we do have Governor, who I would say is probably one of the most broken 6-stars if utilized correctly, and the team that you utilize it against doesn't have any like extra sources of AP gain like commands and actives that give AP, just because like not potentially, just like 100% you can make it so that a team never rushes against you. If I got him in draft, I always took him because it made it impossible for the other team to rush, because they'd attack, have their full AP for the next turn to do their rushes. You do Governor's Rush after doing all the rest of your teams. All their AP drops because their max AP increases. They gain their rush again because they just do 1 attack. Then it goes back down to what the max AP was before, and then when you do Governor's Rush again, it goes back up again, but they need to gain the AP once more. It was ridiculous. 1 turn slow is definitely broken. It's actually like game breaking. So I'm guessing some people utilize that on attack. He's definitely good in drafts, but I don't think he's got too much usage these days, just because you can use other characters pretty much. Amber is an insane character, but not because of her main kit here. This is all good. I would say it's slightly better than Arav as a 6-star from what you see here. What makes her amazing is her weapon. Look, that buff there, 150% attack when attacking enemies with less than 50% of their HP. That's one of the extra attacks that Rampage does, right? Rampage is insane. And obviously, I've hit people with like 4 to 5k with this, S-class characters, just with a basic attack. Because I have Amber, she was great for me for a very, very long time. And the combo with her and Alice, obviously the attack boost, is absolutely insane. So, kind of cool character. Again, another character that potentially people would have wanted to get their hands on and now have the chance. Now, Sheldon, massive disappointment that he's in here for me. He's in the museum, and there will be some people who actually bought him with their comics, and they're going to just be really, really mad about that now. I would be if I bought him and he's in here. Even if I didn't pull him, just the fact that he's just come in here is really, really a shame. Sheldon's okay. He can be used on the bleed team and stuff, kind of utilized that way, but he's not the greatest. He's just okay-ish. Now, Alina is actually pretty good, just because she's a lacerator. She can work well with other characters, Wang Fars, that sort of thing. She can bypass shields as well instantly, and she can not get confused or taunted, so you don't have to have confused or taunt on her, because she gets focus for the first 8 turns of a wave. And if you're not winning something in 8 turns, then I mean, you deserve to get taunted or confused at that point. So, now again, these war recruits are the only ones shown. I haven't seen too many screenshots of anyone else, so it was only on the 5-star token wheel where I was seeing that issue. So we'll just pretty much bypass the rest of this in terms of the theorizing of the other characters on here. So now we'll look at the prestige wheel, which is the last wheel. Generally speaking, there is normally a little bit better characters on here just because we get so little pulls. They put slightly better characters on here for like the time, like compared to the other wheels. I think the war wheel's been pretty good so far. There's only one Duff character on there, being Ivy. We'll check her out, and as you can see, we get Tobin straight off the bat. Again, fan favorite for a lot of people. He's a really good transition character as well. He's like in between 6-star and S-class, kind of like Amber for melee, where he's going to do lots of damage. His special skill is going to enhance that. He's fairly defensive because he gets a nice buffed up weapon in terms of he's got absolute defense. But his damage output is really, really good, especially if you have him with Priya. I used him a little bit until I actually cemented my attack team a little bit better, like with Arav. But in the meantime, he's a very good character if you manage to get your hands on him. Next up is Raven, who's a pretty decent support character, mainly because of her active skill is the thing that made her really annoying in terms of the elusive for everybody. Still could be utilized with Rampage on attack teams, multiple Rampage, no AP gain with that elusive if you do that turn 1. And that was something that Link mentioned during our downtime in the last episode of The Road. Now, the next character doesn't really need much of an introduction. He is probably the most powerful character to ever be released in terms of just himself, not relying on other people. The combo of him and Doc Stevens was absolutely ridiculous. The fact that this guy had like so many things going on with his rush, it's like full team damage, full team AP down, full self-team cleanse, full self-heal, 66 AP. That combo was just absolutely mind-blowing at how stupid this character was when he was first released. And then obviously Doc Stevens came after, made him even worse. You're seeing him get popped like turn 2, turn 1. There were 2 of them on defense teams. We know the story. It was devastating. I think there were a lot of people who like straight up just left the game because this sort of character unfortunately did not improve happiness or enjoyment at all. I'm sure it helped the coffers, but it massively reduced the player base, I would assume, just this one character. He is pretty useless now just because that full cleanse is going to nuke his own team if you've got an exhaust character, which is good because he definitely should be eliminated. His special skill is hemorrhage, it's just like okay. His weapon is just like the rest of him was kind of weird, except his active was really good. 4-turn stun is insane. Next one is Gabe. He was in the museum once before. He could potentially be like Lydia in terms of just being an offensive leader for a bleed team, or just like a support character in there just to pick them back up and stuff. He does have active revive, which makes him a bit of a bonus there. Mercer again, unfortunately. And then we have Pam, a leader, which is kind of cool, but she is a returning character because she was in the war wheel before. But let's say you wanted to use Dayu and Raulito on the same team, or Dayu and Pete on the same team, you wouldn't have to use Raulito as a leader who gives no real defensive stats. You could use potentially Pamela to get the defensive boost. And then we have Ty, who's pretty much just going to be a fluff character at this point. Any damage dealer as a 6-star is generally not going to make it into the S-class era. But he's a cool looking fluff character. He looks really cool. I kind of wanted him when he came out. I think I did a temple for him. Didn't get him. And then lastly we have Denise, who is probably the worst 6-star character to be released in Generation 2. She has an active revive that revives 2. But that's pretty much all she brings. I guess that's pretty decent for SR or maybe FA. Because it's a straight up revive. It doesn't have like taunt attached to it, so she's not going to just do it for the taunt. She's always going to do it when the revive's up, so that's not too bad. So that's it for this wheel. There could be some extra characters on here that can't see, just like we were talking about the 5-star tokens. There could be some updates to the 5-stars, just non-5-star ascendables as well, but there's no way of really telling. The odds have not changed on any of these wheels. Appearance rates, actually, has that changed? 7.9% and 93%. Interesting. That's very interesting odds there. Very interesting odds. And then we go to the war recruits. It's 50-50, I think. Okay, cool. And then let me see, what's the odds on the 5-star token wheel? 93. I'm pretty sure that's what Prestige is meant to say. So that's it. That's it for checking out these wheels, guys. I'm going to save my token pools, like I said, for my end of the month pools. Like usual, we're right at end of the month anyway, so I'll just save it. But do tell me which character you saw and you were like, yes, I want that character. Do you think the updates to these wheels were good enough? Do you think there's not really much more they could have actually done? I think there probably needs to be another wheel with just S-class something on it. Either it would be just like 10 shards every single pull and we get like maybe 20 a month just from grinding stuff and parts of reward system. But there needs to be something S-class on these pulls and there just isn't at the moment. But yeah, that is the end of my video, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.